take soil tests with GPS. This is not organic by neglect. We are very well of our macro and micro fertility here. We could tell you within 1.5 feet the fertility level of the soil. It's just that we don't use a synthetic input to improve it. For the most part, this farm uses some micros and potassium sulfate. But we are relying on the bulk of our nitrogen, the bulk of our fertility from these cover crops. We have a cover crop plot out there. It's interesting. It's not the way we do it. So they planted cover, very specific 13 different cover crops. We plant a hodgepodge. So we'll put oats with chickling vetch with peas, or we'll put clover with barley with something. But I think that these cover crops, this is a marsh by nature, so like for 6 straight miles, it's flat. We have soil up to 40% organic matter. It's light. So we're using cover crops so it doesn't blow away. First of all, Monday we got 1.6 inches of rain. You'll see where we have cover. The soil looks the same. We use cover for fertility, as I mentioned. Every single thing we do that has a state average. There is no state average for buckwheat. There's no state average for Italian flatleaf parsley, right, Steve? But the things that have an average, last year the state average for oats, we got 96 bushel of oats. The state average for soybeans was 45. We achieved 62. We beat the state average on every single, the state conventional average organically. So this system works. I think we're always cognizant of keeping the soil fed, and so the broadleaf cover crops break down real fast, real easy. I think the grass broadleaves break down slower, give us carbon. And so we're going to try before the rain to show you how we rotivate. We incorporate cover with a soil finisher in the spring if the winter killed it. We incorporate soil, the cover crop for the most part with a rotivator. So we'll show you that. The only thing I found with cover is we wholeheartedly avoid hard-seeded cover. We don't plant vetches. I have some here to show you, but we do not plant vetch.
Chickling.
Only chickling. We don't plant hairy or woolly, right?
Or crown.
Yes, correct. We don't plant like the mustards. We tend to plant things that, for the most part, other than crimson, winter kill. So when we first started experimenting with cover, we grew a lot of rye. This is low and flat. This farm is extensively tiled. We have a lot of water. Well, the rye would get 4 or 5 feet tall. We'd mow it. The grass would, the ground wouldn't dry out. The rye would. We could not get away from our cover. So we do not grow a cover intentionally that's green in the spring. Steve and I farm organically at home, and we were in the organic equip with the NRCS that required green spring cover. So we don't. I believe in having a beautiful lush in the fall, but I don't want it green in the spring. We have like 2 very small places that are sandy. We'll plant crimson clover there, and that's green in the spring, but that's about it.
Well, there's a magic depth. We try to run anything between 3 and 5 inches, I'd say, and it's depending on the mass we're trying to rotivate in. Some covers, things grow different years. Sometimes we've rotivated in some, say, sorghum sedan grass that was, last year, that stuff was about 10 feet tall. And we were rotivating about one pass, we were going about a half mile to a mile an hour, which takes some time to do. But it probably looked about as, when Dave goes here, the ground looked about the same as it did. Rotivating in 10 feet tall mass of sorghum sedan grass as it did this 1.5 foot worth of raceme clover. So we generally go, I would say, anywhere probably around 2.5 to 3.5 miles an hour is typical average speed. And we try to go 3 to 4 inches deep. It seems to be the magic. Sometimes we try to go shallower to try not to disturb more soil. But again, if you have a heavy biomass of crop, it just doesn't get worked in enough. So what we found is probably in that 3 to 5 inch range is the magic range where we can get it incorporated really well and it breaks down really good.
Yeah, chickling, vetch, and barley. We worked it in, waited 7 days, and look at the red beets. No other nitrogen, none. They're huge.